Hello everyone, happy Saturday. Jessica here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here to do another installment of the Summerween Craft Along. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Today is Dust. Why is that not focusing? Dust and Dust and the Silent Crypt. So I kind of jumped the gun yesterday when I made for metal and keep the door locked. She already found the external entrance to the crypt. So this is Zev's crypt, where he has retreated in mourning for the loss of her grandmother, his great love. And but today she's going to discover the crypt from a different angle. So let me read you today's installment of the story. Today I assisted in the infirmary. We helped several werewolf shifters, as well as some magical creatures from the nearby woods. Afterwards, when everyone had left, I wandered down a hall looking for the storage closet for bandages, and found a heavy stone door ajar. It was the house entrance to the crypt. I entered cautiously. The silence was heavy in the room. Everything except the latch on the coffin was thick with dust. The grief was palpable. I sat in the armchair and picked up a copy of Poe and read aloud to the empty room. So she's got kind of like this, developing kind of an obsession with the idea of this man who was her grandmother's lover and who had had multiple serial lovers over time. So for the front of the tag, I covered it in a mixture of Payne's Gray mixed with Payne's Gray acrylic paint, like I did the other day, mixed with some pumice stone and some frayed burlap to try and see if I could create some distress paint. I think it's mostly Payne's Gray, but it's kind of a lighter Payne's Gray, I think, a little muted. And then I went over with some crypt paste and I did my stencil and just dragged it down the floor. This is the division I was thinking between the wall and the floor. And then I used my heat gun. Is this focusing? I used my heat gun to, why is this not focusing? There we go. Used my heat gun to dry it, and it got all like bubbly and it changed the texture, and these black spots came forward. So I really like that. I can't decide if I like this side better or this side. I don't know. We're going to try it out. I've also, let me zoom you in a little bit. Let me see if that is helpful. There we go. I think that might be better. Okay. So I have cut out some images from some stuff on Etsy and from the Graphics Fairy. And so I have a bookshelf that I got a drop of water on. I just decided to go, so be it. I have a stack of books with a pot on top. I also had this stack of books, but this one I think looks too big to be in the background. And then I cut out, this was also from that download that I got from Etsy. It was on this white paper. It was a printout of there we go, of a spider web. And then, so in order to make it look not so white, I inked it with some black soot, and then I also used the wax beads. I melted the wax beads on it to give it more of a translucent look. So I think this is going to be stuck to the wall and the ceiling, as well as that cauldron. And then I couldn't find a coffin that had the right angle. So all the coffins that are the digital images are like looking down on it, and it takes up the whole space. And I wanted kind of a perspective. So this is my coffin. I used this Tim Holtz paper lace to, which I just trimmed and cut to follow the angles of the coffin. I think that's going to go there. This is the clasp that is on the coffin that is the only thing in the room that's not dusty. I got this chair off of the Graphics Fairy, and then was I going to use these books in the foreground? I think that's what I was going to do. I was going to use these books in the foreground because she's going to sit in the armchair and read aloud to him. Yep, that's what I'm doing. But I need dust. I also wanted kind of like the idea of trying to have the floor be covered in dust, and the only thing not dusty would be some footprints. I don't know if I have enough room for that now. Maybe if I move these guys up a bit and move this up a bit. Yeah, that works. And then I want to make this dusty and then have the footprints in the dust showing him going towards the coffin, but not going away. So it's goes with the idea that he's in there. So what do I do first? I think I'm going to glue everything down. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so here we have our bookcase. Oh, I wonder if I should be using the tacky glue because it's thicker. And I think the tacky glue works better on top of the crypt paste, but I don't know. I've already glued this. We'll try this. Okay, so there is the bookcase. And then we have here the stack of books with the pot. And I have gone around these in some black soot. I want that on top, but I want it to be connected. So that I think needs to go over a smidge more. And then see how this works on waxed paper because it's pretty saturated with the beeswax. I like the effect that it had because before that it was way too white and there's no way I could fussy cut in between all of the webs. I mean, that just was not going to work. So I feel like melting the beeswax pellets on there worked quite well. I need a piece of paper towel. Get all those corners stuck down and the glue. It will all dry clear. Okay, so now let me stick down the coffin. So all these prompts do require quite a bit of prep. And I'm never quite sure how much to show, because then when it becomes the videos get really long, and how much to just fill you in on. Let me know like what is the proper amount of show and tell and the proper amount of doing and the proper amount of prep. I'm not sure what people prefer. I've also been thinking about doing a little video on scissors. I've been noticing everybody's different scissors, and I realize I have a lot of scissors. It's one of those tools that are really important, and it's really important to have the right scissor for the right tool, the right application. Okay, so there we have his maybe I'll have this hanging upside down. I don't really want to. I guess I could put a brad in there. I guess if a brad would probably hold it best. So let me see what I have for brads in here. Here is a medium-sized one that's not silver. Or do we want a metallic, a shiny metallic one? Should I have it be matchy-matchy? The one bright spot? No, I think I'm going to go with black, actually, and have it blend in so that only the bat is the thing that's shiny. And I think I want a small one. I wonder if a really teeny tiny one will, they're so hard. They're so small. I think the teeny tiny one is going to go right through that hole. Hold on, let me try. Well, the teeny tiny one, oh shoot. Did that pop back into the jar? No. Oh no, it'll hold. Yeah, I like that. It's unobtrusive. Okay, so where do I want this? Here's my awl and my foam. I think I want it right there. Before that spills. Hoping not to have as oh, by the way, I don't know if you watched yesterday, but I was saying how I had a spill disaster with my vintage photo distress spray, oxide spray, and it got all over my favorite dress. Well, it came out. I pre-scrubbed it with just soap and cold water, and then I threw it in the wash with the regular wash, and it came clean. I was so excited because it really is my favorite dress. And it's nothing special. It's just an Old Navy linen blend, everyday kind of casual dress, but it's super comfy, and the cut is right. It's a V-neck. It's flattering. I wore it all summer long because it was so comfortable, especially when we were in Florence. It was so hot, and it comes like mid-thigh. It's just like the perfect everyday dress. So, all right. I know that perspective-wise, that's not right, but I don't want to put the chair over it. I suppose I could put the chair over it. I don't want to put the chair over it. So we're just going to have to suspend disbelief here. I'll put it at an angle like that. That works. And then here's this. And let me try doing the footprints. So, oops. So much for not having butterfingers. Okay. Here is I want to do the outline of footprints using this like a pen. Okay, so here we have, come on, bear. Okay, so here we go. Why is this not coming out? There we go. Some little footprints leading up to and then I have some baking powder. And I thought I would try the baking powder method to show dust. There we go. Is he okay? It's okay, you can talk. Yeah. Hello, I'm back. So it's a little while, it's dried, and it's okay. It doesn't really, you can't really tell that it's supposed to be footprints. There we go. But we're gonna go with it. So then, let me focus again. There we go. I'm gonna keep gonna try this method out. There's probably some dust along the books, on the surfaces of the books. And I'm sure there's dust on this book, on the edges, and there, and probably on top of the bookcase, maybe on the leading edge of each bookcase, and maybe a little bit on the what do you call that? The vase thing. So then I'm just going to do this the way you do embossing powder. Oops. Yep, the way you do embossing powder. So this is going to be obviously not my kitchen baking powder anymore. We have a new one. So I'm just going to, kind of looks more like snow than it does dust, I think. It's kind of dusty looking. I think if you smoosh, maybe if I smoosh the glue first. Maybe if I smoosh the baking powder into the glue. Oh yeah, that works better if I smoosh it in so that the glue gets flattened a little bit. Don't want it actually on the coffin. That was supposed to be the one thing that didn't have dust. Well, that's okay. Not great. It didn't work great, but that's okay. It was an experiment. But there we have it. That's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Dust in the silent crypt. I'm not sure what else I would use. Maybe fabric, not fabric. Ugh, and this made a terrible mess. Not my favorite technique. Not fabric, maybe it's such a like tiny little accent. It's hard to have it use just a tiny bit. Oh my God, this is everywhere. I need a wet wipe. Yuck. Yep, not my favorite technique. I don't know that I'll be doing that again. Yuck. All right, it's everywhere. Yeah, it looks more like snow than it does dust. I wonder if you mixed it up ahead of time, like mixed it in with the glue and then applied the two things together. It might work better. Let's try that a little. No, I don't really want to. I'm afraid of ruining it more. All right, I'm just going to leave it like that for now. I'm going out soon, so we have our quiet reading chair with books by the coffin on the inside of his crypt. I think this is the best part of the thing, is the waxed paper cobweb. All right, you know, you win some, you lose some. That's what we have for today. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.